What have I got here? My bedroom is covered and stuff. Yes, you want to know why? Because I have been a busy beaver. I have a house that I get tired of. Every time I look in one of my videos, I see crap behind me. And to be honest, I took 2013 off to not do any work. To be honest, I got tired of being the only one who does any work, and I thought I'd see what happens when I don't do any work. And guess what? Nothing got done. So, yes, my office has been full of stuff from when we had the flood in 2013. Yeah, 2013. So we had to bring everything up here, and stuff was piled everywhere. And as I had the time, I kind of worked on it, but I really didn't put my heart into it. So now I'm trying to fix that. And this is my start. It's really dark in here. But anyway, that part of my room is cleaned up. Saphira got a new bed. Hey, Saphira. There's Casper. That is stuff that I'm working on. That's stuff I'm working on. So yeah. Oh, and that was my goal chart. It's just stuff that I wanted to get done and just haven't gotten around to it. So I started putting post-its up and reminding myself to get to those things. Over half of them are done. I just haven't bothered to take them down. So we're gonna see what all I got done eventually, and get this room all cleaned up. I'm working at it. Uh, but anyway, that's what I'm doing. My dog made a weird noise. By the way, I'm gonna fix you guys. You're kind of weird. Okay, I had a question. I was thinking about the video that I had talked about the other night, or the movie that we saw the other night about the machine that figured out the German code and stuff like that. Well, I was talking about the guy who created it, but then I started thinking about it, and there was other people that helped in the process of it. Granted, he built the machine, and it worked fine. And he had the help of a lady. What was interesting is this lady, he gave a test for everybody to pass in order to see who was going to work with him. And he said you had to get it done in 6 minutes. And they asked him, the guy said 6 minutes, and he says, I got it done in 8. And he says the point is they got to be able to get it done. So the girl comes up, and of course they didn't want her to have anything to do with it, because heaven forbid that a woman knows anything, let alone be as smart as a man. She got it done in 5. So come to find out, the history of her was, yes, she was working with these men, but she had to pretend to be a secretary in the process. So because she wasn't supposed to be working with men, because she's not supposed to be smart like them. It's kind of how it worked out. And it turned out she was a little bit smarter than the guy who was in charge of stuff. And so she was a big part of getting the machine to work. And one of the workers had come up with an idea how to cross reference the information or something like that. I didn't quite understand what it was, but anyway, he had a suggestion for the machine, and he gave it to the guy who's been creating it, and he looked at it and he goes, that's actually a good idea. So without his help, the machine probably wouldn't have worked at all, or if it did, it would work really slow. And then what I thought was the last key information, or last piece of information, or whatever you want to call it, that made the whole thing a success was the girl who was working with the team had a friend who worked where they had she had a counterpart who was German, and they had to try to collect information and stuff like that. And so her job was to get the information as much as she could from whoever, right? And her counterpart, who he was doing a no-no, or he or she figured it was a guy, kept using the same name to log in on, and, to start up with. And so she figured it had to be a girlfriend. And it got the head guy to think, maybe what we're doing is this, our machine's working, but we can't, it doesn't know what to look for. That's the problem. It doesn't know where to start. And with her making that comment that there's key phrases that are always used on a constant basis in the communication, made him think, go check all the information. And it always started with the weather at 6 o'clock, and it always ended with Hi Hitler. That gave them enough information to make the machine find what it needed to find and give them the information they needed. It was cool. I was like, wow. So anyway, they managed to find the information they needed. I thought it was really awesome. But yeah, it's just one of those, if it wasn't for that girl coming up with the comment about keywords, they may never have figured it out, or took too long to figure it out. If it wasn't for that woman. So it's one of those, don't ever think that whatever you do is so small and unimportant. You never know. I'm just a mother. But who knows what I taught my kids, and they go on to do other things. Who knows what they taught their kids to go on and do other things. It all could be very enlightening, or doing the YouTube thing, Jen was just talking about how her having the kidney cancer, to talk about what's going on with her, and it helped others to address their issues. It helped, and she's looking at talking about how to, foods and stuff like that, to make a healthier life. I'm doing the same thing. It's just a pancreas, for my son. He's having to deal with a pancreas. They gave me a wonderful idea for cookies. The only problem is Michael can't have any fat at all. That's the hard part. And so, found out you can make cookies with bananas and oatmeal, but the first batch didn't turn out so well. Second batch wasn't too bad. And then I found a cookie mix that was sugar-free and oil-free, or fat-free, and made a couple of alterations to the recipe, and it wasn't that bad. Well, the first few that I cooked, I baked them, the first cookie sheet full, I baked it and tasted it, and I was like, this is funky. And I had some caramel flavoring, sugar-free caramel flavoring. I thought, put a little of that in there, mix it up. Wasn't too bad on the second try. Put a little bit more in there, mix it up. By the third time, it was, so now I know I need to put, a couple of spoonfuls of that caramel flavoring in there and make it taste nummy. And I've had to use other interesting things. So once I perfect a recipe, I will let you know how to make fat-free cookies that my son will not throw at me, because that's the hard part. I, however, thought the first batch wasn't so bad, but my son, however, threw the cookie at me. He did not like it. Just saying. I have a very picky son, but that's okay. It shows more than just in his food. When he does his work at school and that kind of thing, it shows up in that too. So he wants to do a good job. He wants things done right. Can't fault him for that. Anyway, I have a mess to take care of. We'll see how I get this done. Bye.